Carol Marrock at carolmarrock.com. Welcome to Solo and Smart. And today I have a special guest, Marci Lobel-Esrig, and she is a seasoned attorney, a member of the board of directors of the Better Business Bureau, and a Crain's 2021 Notable Women Business Owner. And Marci is the founder and CEO and General Counsel of SilverBills.com, and which launched in 2014. And I've known Marci since probably 2016. But SilverBills receives, scrutinizes, and stores clients' household bills and ensures that bills are paid correctly and on time. So SilverBills greatly reduces a client's need for help writing checks and managing household bills, which can be a portal to fraud and theft, which we all discussed just recently in another video. And SilverBills provides services throughout the US and often partners with financial professionals, families, and attorneys. And each client is paired with a US-based account manager that's empowered by proprietary software, but client computer use is optional. Well, welcome, Marci, to Solo and Smart.
Thank you, Carol. I really appreciate your having me on the program.
Oh, you're welcome. I've just known you for so long and kind of followed your career for 5 or 6 years now. So it's great to see that you're having a lot of success. And speaking of that success, SilverBills began a partnership with the New York City Department for the Aging, whereby qualified New York City residents receive free household bill management services. And you have many investors in your company now, which is very exciting. So congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
And I listened to another podcast that you were on recently. And so do you mind sharing your story of how SilverBills got started?
Sure.
I thought that was so interesting.
Absolutely. So I was a lawyer. I was a lawyer for the New York Mets baseball team parent company, Sterling Equities. And a couple of weeks after I started, the Bernie Madoff scandal broke. And my company lost about $500 million and almost the entire 401k of the company. And I had a very, very unique window into that financial crime, just how it could be perpetrated against high net worth individuals that were sophisticated investors themselves. It was just a really fascinating and tragic set of circumstances, but I became an expert in financial fraud at that time and worked on that for 8 years, as I said. And at the same time, my aunt was aging in her home and she was struggling with managing her household bills. And when I researched the overlap of those issues, I learned about the $1 billion annual elder financial exploitation problem in this country, and often perpetrated because older adults need help with this process and they turn to untrustworthy individuals who either steal their jewelry or other personal effect to write unauthorized checks. And there was no solution at the time that was national, scalable, and empowered by technology. So I left Sterling and started working on SilverBills, and now we're really scaling nationally. We have clients in 20 states and growing, and forming some exciting partnerships like the one you mentioned with the New York City Department for the Aging, the County of Maui, Hawaii, which is beginning in October of this year, as well as some other municipalities that are in the works. So it's been a very gratifying journey.
You know, it's so interesting that more and more services like yours are coming about, and I think we need even more. For example, since I represent a lot of the people who are aging at home alone, many of us don't have family to rely on for, to watch out for us, or to be our healthcare proxy, or to be our financial proxy, and on and on and on. We don't even have people to bring us a cup of soup, basically, sometimes, if we don't have a really close, if we haven't formed close friendships or a support system. So it's good to see that that the service that you provide, being bill paying and managing our finance. Well, you know, it's not really that you manage our finances, but you help us basically manage our bill paying. Is that right?
Yes, correct. Expenses and budgeting. So we
Okay.
we form typically part of that care team. I'm a big believer in outsourcing to professionals, not just for solo agers, but even individuals who don't want their adult children, for example, spying on them or, either through an app or any other way. They want to maintain independence for as long as possible. And we're part of that professional team. Similarly to the way individuals outsource, for example, tax preparation to accountants, they can outsource that to SilverBills, which is the bill management.
Yeah, you just brought up one aspect that I think is very interesting. And I'm sorry if you could just go back and talk about outsourcing bill paying, because there is so much fraud around having access to our bank accounts. And so how, I'm just curious, and if you can tell me, how do you vet the employees that you hire? Can you talk about that?
Sure. We have an extensive vetting process. We take a small percentage of anyone who applies for a job as an account manager at SilverBills, and there's very limited information that they're directly accessing. It's mostly anonymized information with respect to assets. Basically, what they're managing are the debts that our clients owe to third parties, like their electric company, their water company, et cetera. And we're empowered by software to protect our clients and really only access the limited amount of information that's needed. On top of that vetting process that we have for the hiring, we do background checks. We have 4 incredibly robust separate insurance policy covering every possible iteration that could affect a client, as well as we have AI empowered monitoring of all transactions and individual auditing at a CPA level of each and every transaction. I mean, what we're doing, the crux of our business is trust. And so we really do not let anything fall through the cracks with regard to that. We're extraordinarily careful with respect to account managers.
My question is because I encouraged individuals, especially those of us who don't have many family members around, how do we build our team of support? And I encourage people to, uh, to make good friends, trustworthy friends. However, I think we really need to have a mix of professionals in that team of support. And just recently, I did a video, and I think it was with an elder law attorney, and we were talking about this. And one of the members in my group, because she is aging alone, she asked, "So, do you advise each professional to meet with one another so that we can all get on the same page?" I'm not really sure that's necessary because that could be quite costly if you hire different, an elder law attorney, fiduciary agent, and maybe a care manager. That would be quite costly to have like a meeting of the minds to make sure that we're all in agreement in terms of to meet my needs, to make sure that my needs will be met. So do you have input for that or on that topic?
Yeah, I mean, of course, the expense can be something that should be considered if you're paying by the hour for people's time and you're asking them to meet. But I really am a big believer in checks and balances. I saw with, Bernie Madoff when it was a sole organization responsible for all of this investment activity without any, real checks and balances, what happened there. So I think, particularly from the financial perspective, it's important to have different caregivers and professionals involved in that mix so that there are checks and balances and people have accountability to each other. I mean, in general, I'm a big believer in hiring professionals to do as much as possible. I think that aligns with, solo aging in general. While, people with children maybe are relying on them to do some of these tasks that solo agers, must hire professionals for. I actually think it's in many people's interest to hire professionals if they can afford it to do a lot of the tasks required to age successfully. But definitely a caregiving team with a team approach. And I don't mean like everyone is doing everything and looking over everyone's shoulders, but for example, often we work with financial professionals who our software provides and our account managers a monthly budget. And it shows budgeted spend versus actual spend per category. That's often very helpful for financial professionals who are working on the investment side to see that. You know, instead of everyone just working in their in their silo, the collaboration to care for an older adult is very valuable in my opinion. So I am a big believer in collaboration. Absolutely.
Do you also work with care managers? Do they get involved in your business or with the client?
Again, they often form part of a care team. We're
Okay.
experts in what we do.
Uh-huh.
And for decades, I've really ascribed to that model. Even when I was a lawyer, you know, practicing at a small firm, and people would ask me, could you do this? Could you do that? Some people say, yes, I can do anything, right? And other people say, let's let the experts do what they do best, right? So, yes, there are some care managers who want to do the bill paying. I mean, there's no way that they can come anywhere near the robust technology solution that we have, the fraud monitoring, the AI empowered algorithms that we have. And that's why I think, and I would never try to be a care manager, even though, you know, some people in the age tech industry and space have said, you know, you can broaden your mission, you can do other things, you can do investments. I believe in sticking to one's knitting and being an expert in that particular, you know, area. So that's my approach to the process of aging, as it is to many things in life, and forming a collaborative team to accomplish those goals. So yes, we
Mhm.
work with care managers who believe in that mission of doing what they do best while delegating to professionals other aspects of the process.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's why it's so important to get to know what what deliverables and what do specific professionals provide and deliver to that individual. You know, because a care manager is going to do something totally different than what a financial fiduciary does, or a financial accountant does, or even what a bill payer does. So I am in total agreement. So get to know the professionals, get to learn, go to, I know there's quite a few, especially locally, through the Department of Aging or area on aging departments do deliver webinars as well as on-site seminars, kind of grouping together all of the professionals that do deliver services to seniors. So get to know who those people are and start selecting and start interviewing and really doing your due diligence on who is the best fit for you and to help you meet those specific needs. Because like your aunt or other individuals that have relied on hiring an outside caregiver to perform all of those for bill paying, as well as taking care of you, as well as giving you a ride, may not be the most safe thing to do for your finances. You know, I think you
Right.
just,
And the other aspect of that, Carol, is if people are going out of business, you know, if they're solo operators, small businesses, and you're relying on one entity to do everything, you know, people go out of business, people pass away. Look at the organization that you're asking to perform some of these tasks. Are there backup? There are larger or smaller, whatever um, operations. So I think that's something to consider, particularly when you're a solo ager.
yes, definitely. Well, is there one other tip that you would like to leave with the audience today?
I think about the value of your time, even if you're not in need of certain services. It's funny because we, as you mentioned, we closed our investor outside first institutional outside investor round at the end of March, and so we've begun to spend significantly more on outreach. And younger people increasingly are hiring us to provide services. For example, they don't want to use an app to do their own taxes, they're hiring an accountant. Same thing with the bill management. Even though they could do it themselves, people's time is valuable. And that's a lesson I think that's well worth thinking about as people are aging, because that's one thing we can't get more of is time or years, and outsourcing I think is a really good way of actually getting some more time to pursue really important things in life rather than the mundane that can be outsourced to professionals.
I agree, especially it also helps reduce stress.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Knowing that I have a professional who will handle it appropriately and to the best of their ability, I don't have to worry about it.
Right. I mean, that brings up a good point. For example, if you forget to pay your long-term care insurance policy, um, who do you have recourse to, right? Yourself. If we do that, I mean, we're professionals and that's the crux of our business. And we have 4 different insurance policies that will make you whole. So that's the other point of that. When you are outsourcing, there's accountability for the people who are providing the services.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Marcy. I appreciate you joining us today.
Thank you, Carol. It's always great speaking with you, and I really appreciate the opportunity.
You're welcome. So thank you everyone for joining Marcy and I on Solo and Smart today. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel and give it a like or a thumbs up, and I will see you soon. Thank you.